And a bit later on, you learn how to drive a car. You remember that one. And if you're like most people, you got into the car, having first of all seen people doing it, saw the advantage of it and thought, I'd like to do that because then I'd get this, that or the other. And assumed it was easy, because everybody's doing it. But the first time you get into a car and have a go, you realise it's not as easy as it looked. Yeah? 'Cause three pedals and 2 feet. You think, well, what's that about? What on earth is that about? But not only that, you've got this thing here that does that. And then you've got this thing you've got to do that with, and that thing you do that with, and that thing you do that with. And you've got to press that one, look in there, and look in there. All at the same time. Well, obviously it's impossible. And you probably went through this stage of thinking that everybody else can do this, but you're one of those people who never ever get the hang of it. Did you have that?
No, I don't think so.
Right. You found it easy straight away?
No.
No.
I was just optimistic that
Oh, right.
I would do it.
So you kept your optimism, but you realised it wasn't as easy as it looked.
Yeah.
And then, presumably, you've got an instructor?
Yes, in the form of me dad and granddad first, but then a
Right.
professional instructor.
Right. Which was best?
The professional one.
Yeah. If you had a good
Sorry,
professional,
Dad.
then they'd have broke it down into little chunks and said, well, we'll focus on this first. Let's focus on some footwork today, clutch work, yeah?
And he was patient.
And patient, and maybe give you the right sort of feedback. But bit by bit, you piece this task together until you get to the point where one day you're driving along and you get involved in a conversation about something, could be football or what's in the news, and just for a few seconds or maybe a few minutes you're driving almost without thinking about it. Until the instructor turns around and says, hey Gary, you're doing well today. You say, oh, I am, aren't I? But then you make a mistake because you've started thinking about it again. But over the next few lessons you get more and more of those periods where you're driving almost on automatic, and they last for longer and longer. Until you go for your test and it all goes to pieces again. But you passed the test, whether it was first time or second time. And these days you just jump in the car and go. So everything you've learnt's gone through the same process. And you never learn one thing at a time. You're learning all sorts of things every day. So when you learn to walk, you're also learning about food and love and how those things might be connected. But you've learnt lots of things to do with eating over the years. Some of those things you've learnt just through self-programming, through experience. Other things you've learnt because people have gave you messages about food. Like what sort of foods you should eat, how much, how often, how you should feel if you don't, how you should feel if you're overweight, how you should feel if you're underweight. All those things get fed into this computer over the years. And they form your own personal program about how to be you with your eating patterns and your weight. And after a while, the computer runs that program because that's what it's been taught to do. Not because it's bad, not because it's got it in for you, but it's running a program which, when you think about it consciously, the end result of that program is you've been overweight for quite a long time and you found it hard to change that.
Yeah.
And if you had any conscious choice, and if you had a real computer, which I know you have got a computer, you know how to use it. If you had on your computer a program which had been installed years ago and it wasn't doing what you want to happen these days, what would you do?
Get a new one.
You get a new computer or a new program?
Program first, but maybe a new computer too.
Yeah. Let's assume the computer's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. State-of-the-art computer.
Okay.
And it just got a program running which was an old-fashioned program, and it's a program to do with eating patterns and weight and self-esteem and all those things that interconnect with that. But it's just not doing the job that you would want it to do. It's very inefficient. You might go to PC World and buy a new one. You'd see what was on the market. And even before you did that, you might well think this program's not doing you any favours. You might delete the program from the computer. Yeah? So let's say you started with that end. You say, here's a program which I don't want running. And we'll just label it the overweight program.
Right.
I mean, there's lots of different ways you can label things, but just for explanation, we'll call this program the overweight program. And within that will be linked overeating and other things which link into that. All part of the overweight program. So a real computer, what you do is you say, don't fancy that program anymore. It's just taking up space on the computer. I'll delete it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go do-do-do-do-do-do, and up on the screen would come the old program. It would say, I'm overweight. I'll always be overweight. It'll be terribly hard to lose weight. I would definitely fail. And then I'd feel bad about myself and eat some more. And you think, do I really want that computer on my program? No. So you'd click delete. What's the next thing that would happen after you click delete?
I would uninstall it.
No.
No?
You'd click delete and a little box would pop up and it would say, are you sure? Are you sure you want to delete the overweight program? Click yes or no. And you'd go, Well, you can't do that because you haven't got a bit. Well, you can still do it. You say, am I sure I want to delete the old unwanted overweight program? What's the answer?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so you click yes. And then the machine would start to make lots of noises. It'd go, and that's the machine telling you it's doing something. And it might make these little bleepy noises for quite some time. Because this is a really old program. It's not a state-of-the-art piece of software. So it takes a while to delete that program, but eventually a box will pop up and it will say, you have successfully deleted the old, unwanted, overweight program. It's been sent to the recycle bin. Now what would happen is, almost automatically, everything you do on that computer would speed up. It would become more efficient because that old program has been taking up virtual memory. It's been taking up energy just to keep it running in the background all the time.
Yeah.
Now that we've deleted that program, it's been sent to the recycle bin, that's freed up energy that can be used to make everything you do with that computer more efficient, more effective. So that's great. And knowing that you're computer literate, you'd probably enter the recycle bin as well. You might even defragment your computer. Who knows? But now you've got all this extra space on the computer, you'd think, what would I like to do with that?
Yeah.
That's when you popped out the PC world. And you'd see, well, what's on the market today? And you're browsing around the store, PC World, and you see this advertisement on the wall for a new state-of-the-art piece of software. And it's called Easy, Effortless, Natural Weight Loss. You go, oh, let's have a look at that. So you start to read the blurb, and it says something like, when you download this state-of-the-art piece of software, not only will you lose the weight you want to lose, but you'll lose that weight easily, effortlessly, and naturally. You'll lose the weight that you want to lose, and you'll come down gradually and steadily towards the weight where you feel happy and comfortable, the weight that is just right for you. And then you'll maintain that weight as long as it's appropriate for you. And it goes on, blah, 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 blah. And then it goes to the end and it says, and this state-of-the-art piece of software runs on half a byte. Whatever that means. I think what it means is you could have it running all the time and still do lots more things with the computer.